We have seen a bunch of different fighters from many different disciplines hop over and try their hand at MMA. Now, some of them have success, some of them don't. From wrestlers to boxers to judokas to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu specialists to kickboxers. Kickboxers can be a particularly deadly discipline when they learn how to adapt their style to MMA, especially at the most elite level when they learn to mix it with grappling, clinch work, and submissions. Hence, why kickboxers are some of the most successful groups of fighters to enter the cage. The fight always starts standing, and if elite kickboxers can keep the fight on the feet, then they become incredibly tough to beat until they run into someone who's, more skilled than them on the feet. Today I wanted to pay homage to some of the most devastating fighters with kickboxing backgrounds to ever enter the realm of MMA and have extended periods of success. What's up everyone, this is Rob. Welcome to Up Next MMA, and today we're going to talk about the 10 best kickboxers to ever transfer over to mixed martial arts. Now, this is going to be part 1 of a 3-part series, so gear up. I want to really cover in depth a lot of these guys' kickboxing backgrounds, kickboxing records, and how they transferred over to MMA. Now, before we get into it, please remember to smash the like button and comment if you enjoy the video, as well as subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified whenever we have a new video dropping. Alright, let's get back to our list. Number 1, Israel Adesanya. We're going to start with none other than the middleweight king himself. He might be one of the most accomplished kickboxers to ever grace the octagon. He recently just displayed how good his kickboxing is against title challenger Paulo Costa. As we covered in previous videos about Israel Adesanya, his kickboxing training started when he was about 17-18 years old. He also started fighting in amateur kickboxing soon after he started training. He amassed a 30-0 kickboxing record on the amateur level before he moved to China to begin his pro kickboxing career. Israel went on to fight in China full-time, then signing with big kickboxing promotions such as Glory and King of the Ring. Fighting for and winning championships across those promotions, he later would go on to fight big names like Alex Pereira, Yosari Belgaru, Philippe Verlinden, and Jason Wilness. Now, during his kickboxing days, Israel was referred to as one of the very best professional kickboxers in the world. After fighting full-time in kickboxing for almost 8 years, Israel had amassed a 75-5 professional kickboxing record, which is 80 fights, and that's ridiculous. Now, Israel had been training in MMA during his kickboxing career, most of his kickboxing career actually. Israel had been training in MMA. He actually took some MMA fights between his kickboxing fights for some experience. And he carried over his kickboxing experience to MMA and the UFC seamlessly. Now the rest is history. Israel dominated in impressive fashion in the UFC with wins over Derek Brunson, Brad Tavares, Anderson Silva, who we'll talk about in the next few videos, as well as Kelvin Gastelum on his way to the title to when he fought Robert Whittaker. And he obviously dominated and knocked out Robert Whittaker to win the UFC middleweight title in October of 2019. Now, Israel has continued to have success using his elite kickboxing skills with his title defenses over Yoel Romero and Paulo Costa. Israel perfectly blends his movement, crisp strikes, fight IQ, and elite takedown defense just to show how effective kickboxing can be in the octagon. He pays homage to the great kickboxers of the past, as well as his own background in the sport. Number 2, Alistar Overeem. This is a guy who's been fighting for the better part of 2 decades and through several different eras of mixed martial arts. Now, Overeem is regarded as being one of the best, if not the best, heavyweight kickboxers to ever step into MMA. He's one of the OGs of K1 kickboxing. K1 is a premier kickboxing promotion in Asia. It's still alive and kicking today, but their heyday was actually back in the 2000s. This is when they held some of the most classic and iconic kickboxing matches and Grand Prix. Overeem was part of these eras as he fought in K1 all throughout the 2000s. He fought and beat many experienced kickboxers such as Gogan Saki, Tyrone Sprong, Badar Hari, and Remy Benjoski. Now, Alistar even won a K1 kickboxing Grand Prix in 2010. Very similar to Israel, Alistar fought in mixed martial arts while competing in kickboxing. Alistar was actually competing in big MMA promotions such as Pride FC, Dream, and Strikeforce while competing in kickboxing in K1. Overeem would modify and refine his use of striking throughout his MMA career, but he eventually hit his stride when he moved up from light heavyweight to heavyweight. And this is when he was in Strikeforce and Dream, and he would go on to capture the heavyweight belt in both of those promotions. He then made a run for the UFC belt very soon after that. In that run in the UFC, Alistar Overeem beat Mark Hunt, Fabricio Verdum, Brett Rogers, Gary Goodridge, Junior Dos Santos, Roy Nelson, Andrei Arlovsky, Frank Mir, Stefan Struve. The list goes on, and he used his kickboxing skills to finish many of these fighters by knockout. Now, obviously at the end of this run, Alistar would lose to many former and current UFC champions as well as top contenders in the heavyweight division, but it still doesn't take away from the success that he's had from his wins. Alistar was also able to develop a very good grappling game as well. He is also known now for taking down other heavyweights. He is seen in his most recent fights against Rosenstruck, Walt Harris, and Augusto Saki to take heavyweights down and beat them up. Now, Overeem remains one of the most decorated kickboxers as well as MMA fighters in general in the history of the sport. He's well respected, and he's probably going to go down as one of the best heavyweights to ever grace MMA. Now, let's talk about another K1 kickboxer. Number 3, Mark Hunt. Now, he often gets overlooked nowadays due to his recent lawsuits with the UFC and online sparring matches with Dana White, but in Mark's prime, he was one of the scariest kickboxers to ever grace the sport of mixed martial arts. Like Alistar, Mark Hunt began his combat sports career in kickboxing at a very young age. After a few kickboxing fights, Mark began to show how elite he was with his striking, so the promotion entered him into the local K1 Grand Prix Oceania in 2000. Mark Hunt would go on to win that Grand Prix tournament and get automatic entry into the international tournament. Now, he would lose in the international tournament, but he came back the next year to win the World K1 Grand Prix in 2001. He would compete in K1 several more times before making the full-time move over to MMA. Now, Mark Hunt would use his striking to enjoy success in Pride, Dream, and the UFC. He's had so many crazy fights in this organization, from fighting and beating guys like Bigfoot Silva, Stefan Struve, Roy Nelson, and many others. Mark has shown to consistently use his kickboxing to show that he's one of the best strikers to ever compete in MMA. That's it for this video, guys. Please smash the like button if you enjoyed the video, as well as subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know whenever we have a new video coming out. Part 2 and 3 will be coming your way very soon. We'll cover more names on this list in the next 2 videos. But let me know what you guys think of the names on this list, particularly Alistar Overeem and Mark Hunt. Their careers are interesting to me because the title eluded them throughout multiple attempts to try and get there, as well as, their careers are almost done, as opposed to Israel, who's kind of still writing his story. Let me know what you guys think in the comments of their careers, as well as how they were able to always implement their kickboxing into their game plans. Anyway, that's it for me. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.